Hello and welcome back to the Game Junction Podcast. We are here for episode 46 with Billtendo himself. How's it going tonight, man?
What's up? It's fantastic, Brandon. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. How we doing tonight, Gamer Aimer?
We made it. We're here.
We made it. We're here. So we had a few things happen with getting some stuff set up beforehand. I arrived with barely any time coming back from too many games, but there was a multitude of things that added into issues tonight. So I apologize for us being late, but thank you for coming to watch and hang out anyway with us. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get started.
Yes. So we have someone very special, and apparently this is a return guest. Now, this is my first time with this guest here, so it's kind of like a half and a half. So we'll just go ahead and introduce our guest. We have Mr. Billtendo. What is going on? What's going on tonight?
Not a whole lot. Just much like Brandon myself, I just barely made it in time. I may not look like it at a glance, but I am a grandfather. My daughter is 26 and my granddaughter is 5. They live in New Orleans. I live in New York. They visit for 1 week out of the year. Sometimes if we're lucky, we fly them up twice in a year. And I had to bring them back to the airport. Their week just ended. And so I barely made it back from the airport in time. Well, I mean, I stopped to get sushi with my wife, but, other than that, it was a rush.
Sushi is very good, so we'll let it slide,
It's important. It's important.
Right.
Sushi is important.
Just as an aside on that, unrelated to anything, our second date, when I met my wife, I flew to New York to meet her. We actually met online on Instagram by liking each other's pictures at first. And I flew up from New Orleans to upstate New York to meet her after we spoke for a long time. And I stayed for a week. And the second night I was here, we went out to dinner the first night. We went out to dinner the second night. So our second date is where we stopped to have dinner at tonight on the way home. And yesterday was our 5th marriage anniversary.
Congratulations! That's awesome.
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
What's the word? Simpatico? Synchronicity? I don't know how to put it exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really cool. And the place is still there and you guys get to go back. I'm sure that, brought up all the memories. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the food's great. That helps.
I love sushi. I'm a big sushi fan, but it's got to be from the right place because there's some sushi where it's like made me sick, and I'm like, I'm never eating sushi again. And I will never eat grocery store sushi again. That was a bad experience. So restaurant sushi and real sushi only.
Yes.
Yeah.
No gas station sushi.
No gas stations.
Thank God we don't have that here, because I probably would have tried it at some point.
Oh no.
My wife definitely has. They have it at Quick Check, and I'm absolutely certain she's bought it. So,
wow, yeah, I don't know about the gas station sushi. I gotta tell you, Brandy, have you ever ate at Royal Farms, the gas station?
Yeah, it's a thing here. Everyone does.
We stopped on the way back, and that was one of the best sandwiches I've had in a long time. Their chicken sandwich, it was amazing, like so good. They have this like crab sauce on it or something that you can get on it. It was like so good. I was like. And their like potato wedges were just like probably the best I've ever had.
They're really good.
Really like
Royal
really
Farms, Wawa, Sheets.
No,
we
Sheetz
have all those
terrible,
around here.
Sheetz is
everyone loves those.
I know everybody likes Sheetz, and we got one 2021 here, and it like wasn't even a thing in Ohio. And now they're like putting them everywhere. But I like the food. Royal Farms is awesome.
I'm originally from New Orleans, and our gas stations are completely different than what you guys have going on. Brandy, I don't know where you're from.
Maryland.
Maryland. Okay, so still northern. So
yes.
The deep south, New Orleans. So when you say gas station, yes, they have gas pumps. but almost every gas station has a full kitchen in it, and they're deep frying catfish, they're making po' boys, they got burgers, they got pizza, they got everything. So my wife didn't understand when we first started talking. When she said, what are you and the kids doing for tonight, for tonight, I'd say, we're gonna go grab something from the gas station. So she's thinking we're grabbing jars of like ravioli or
Yeah, I
peanut.
mean that's how gas stations are here
Some
too.
spam in a can.
And
Some
she's like,
chips.
you can't eat at gas stations all the time. And I'm like, you don't understand. Like, and so when she flew down, the first place I took her was to D&K, this little gas station. And she walks in and she sees this counter that is like 50 feet long of glass case filled with every type of deep fried anything you could imagine.
Wow.
And I'm like, this is what we eat. This is gas station food for us.
That's awesome. It's crazy to see that too, like the different areas, you know, of what kind of flies and what doesn't, and when people say things and what they're thinking versus what really is, you know.
Right. Oh yeah. There's been a lot of differences from moving up here.
Yeah, it's I still didn't get to try the Wawas, and I actually heard people at the convention at Too Many Games talking about it. Like I was walking past them, I heard
We
them
love
mentioning.
Wawa.
Yeah, apparently
Wawa.
it's like a thing people like. I didn't get to try it. I was kind of bummed, but next time.
Always next time. And we do have tons of people in the chat already, so this is great.
Yes.
We have Carl saying, howdy everyone. Millennial Collector Ohio saying, hey guys. There are some other Facebook users coming in. We'll have to see if some of the names start coming in. We have Carl saying, hey. And that's when we officially started. Omega095, hey everyone. Carl, I'm here for all this food talk, yum. Millennial Collector Ohio, hey Todd and Omega. We have Todd Friedman popping in. Hi everyone, great show. And then we have howdy, great to see you. Hope you're well. So everyone's chatting back and forth with each other in the chat. Stephanie's saying, oh nah, our gas stations are sketch.
We had an experience, didn't we? Like a whole experience the other night. Oh my god.
Yeah, we almost did not make it out alive, but that's for another time.
Yeah.
We have Daniel in the chat. Would be careful trying gas station food in New Mexico, saying hi to everyone. We have Mike popping in saying, hey peeps. So
hey,
we have quite a few people already. And I guess we'll just jump into it. Let's learn a little bit more about you for the viewers. Whoever's been here, obviously, for the first go around. I was not, so I have some questions.
Okay.
So what is it that you do in the gaming community? I saw that you have, YouTube channel. There's tons of content creation. We had talked before the podcast a little bit, talking about some other things. So just, I guess, like a whole bunch of what you do.
So, I do a lot of content creation, whether it be for Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm always working on something. By trade now for the last several years, I buy and sell video games. I try to be extremely ethical because I'm a player first and a collector second. So the way I generally do things is I am far more likely than most people to give you a good discount on something because that's good for you. That's good for me. You get a discount, you save a couple dollars, and the next time you're looking for a game, guess what? You're going to call me. So that's good for me. And we're going to keep doing the same thing. It's good for everybody. I'm going to find you whatever you want me to find. But, knowing that there is a area where I take from the community, financially, it pays my bills. That's why I do a lot of content creation. I do the YouTube, I do the TikTok, I do the Instagram. I also have a radio show that airs every week on Out of the Box Radio, and then it uploads to Spotify every Monday morning called the Billtendo Show. And
Mhm.
all of that kind of stuff is A, because I enjoy it, and B, I want to have things to give back to the community. And this is something that I can do and that I can just give to the community for free, whether it's informative or it's entertaining. You know, I've made videos on YouTube that show people how to make their Nintendo 64 region free so it can play American and Japanese games. Same thing with Super Nintendo. I show people how to do stuff like that. I'll tell you facts about things. I want to spread as much knowledge as I can on the community, and I want to give back to the community because the community's done a lot for me. I mean, I started a Nintendo 64 group a couple years ago, and really, I kind of, you know, made a little bit of a joke out of it. A buddy of mine and myself were in another group, N64 group, and he had a problem with one of the admins. And, you know, I said, let's just go start our own group with Blackjack. And he's like, okay. And that was kind of a joke. And now we have 15,000 people in our group, and it continues to grow every day. So that's one thing. And, you know, I constantly give stuff away for free in there.
Yeah, I love that group. It's an awesome group. So big shout out to that.
I think that you hit the word community. You know,
Yep.
I think that's what we're all here for, and I think that's very important. And I love how you do like a variety of everything. So, you know, you have like the different games, you're a gamer first, you want to help people out, you want to, you know, give back to the community. That's kind of how we all got into different things. Things have been good to us. So it's great to see people who want to give back and who want to help with the knowledge, the information, the education, and, you know, helping with deals. And you hit it right on the head, you know, going back and forth. You want it to work out for you a little bit. You want it to work out for the other person that you're finding these deals for. I think that's great.
Yeah, I personally just want to benefit everybody. Look, I know a lot of people get down on resellers and they say a lot of bad things about resellers. Look, I'm a reseller, and I'm going to tell you, most of the people deserve the attitude that they get, because you don't have to squeeze every dollar out of every game. There's no reason for that. If you want to continue to do business in this, it's all about community. It's not just taking from the community. You have to be a part of it. You have to give something back. You absolutely have to. Morally, ethically, you have to. It shouldn't even be a second thought. I started because I like playing games. My group's name is N64 Players and Collectors, because I'm a player first and a collector second. Not real big on collection nowadays. I just want accessible games, and that's another thing. I build and sell all types of emulation devices along with standard consoles and games, because I think accessibility in gaming is a very big deal. If you want to own an $800 game for your collection, that is fantastic, and I'm happy for you if that makes you happy. But at the end of the day, no one should have to pay $800 just to play a game. Yes. So that's why I'm a big fan of emulation. Look, I want to play some stuff. I'm going to play it. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it makes some of those games more accessible. There's definitely a reason and a healthy argument for emulation, always, I think. So I agree with that.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of people already agreeing. So we have Millennial Collector Ohio saying, love this community, especially in a world of people who only, you know, care about themselves.
Right.
We have Carl saying, awesome attitude by Billtendo about looking after folks in the gaming community. Love it. So that's definitely great. We're all about that. We're all about, you know, trying to help everyone. And you said it the right way. You know, you don't have to pay like $800 just to play something. Like there's people, you know, like us who are a little crazy at times who want to have that item on the shelf. But at the same time, you know, the kids who are trying to get into gaming, especially retro gaming, they should not have to go out there and, you know, have to like beg their parents for certain games that are super expensive just to play them. You know, there should be ways of bringing this stuff back and having it more accessible. So
absolutely.
And I'm not about to pay 300 grand for Kazuna on Neo Geo.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I'll take one.
Neo
Yeah.
Geo, you're gonna love me in the near future, Brandon. I promise you.
Man, Neo Geo, let me tell you, what a rabbit hole. I can't
You
even.
know, I always have like 5 projects in development, and
What's awesome.
I got one concerning Neo Geo right now.
Oh, heck yeah.
Nice.
That's awesome.
We'll talk in the future. I'll come back just to hype that.
Sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds great.
We'll love to hear it too, because we have some people who are Neo Geo fans probably in the comments, because people are always asking about Neo Geo stuff. It is a whole thing.
I feel like it didn't get, maybe because of the expense at the time of release, it just didn't get the traction in the United States that it deserved. It was
Yeah.
a great system for its time. It was just so pricey at the time, in comparison. So I feel like it never got a fair shake.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's like a whole rabbit hole. Obviously, the cost of the system
Yes.
at launch is absolutely crazy, and it just there's so much to the Neo Geo rabbit hole. It's pretty.
Yeah, and I think so many people are just a little scared, like when they think of that system, because of the amount of, they didn't know about it. It wasn't something that everyone knew about, and the price point on a lot of the games.
While we're talking about Neo Geo, I want to point out that there is a Japanese system that never made it to America, and it gets no love. And I am a huge fan. It has horror games, it has RPGs, it has puzzle games. It was Japan's equivalent of the Game Boy and Game Boy Color. It's called Wonder Swan.
Yes.
Between the two
awesome.
consoles, there were around 500 games. I've been making it my mission for like the last 6 months to try to get people into Wonder Swan. Clock Tower was on Wonder Swan.
Yep.
They had a Wonder Swan specific Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. That
one's really cool looking.
It is.
Yeah, it is. And it's such a great system. I mean, the Game Boy buried it, so it never made it out of Japan. I mean, they didn't have Pokemon. They did have like 25 different Digimon games, but not the same.
Yeah,
And Terry Panda Wonder Swan. That's what I have.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
It's like
really
the weird Panda edition thing.
Wait, what? The Cherry Panda?
It's Terry Panda Wonder Swan. I'll have to send a picture of it. It's like a weird. It's like this like long box. It has like this panda on it, and then it's like this white console, and sideways you play the. It's actually pretty cool looking. It's a weird one.
Nice.
Yeah, Wonder Swans are cool because some of the games play landscape.
Like white console.
Some of them play portrait, and the buttons are set up to where they could do either. Oh man, and I don't know if you guys have ever held one. I have several of them here. I always forget I have the physical models because I sell emulators that have them on there.
Mm-hmm.
But they feel very good in the hand, but they're very, very light, very small in comparison to the Game Boy and Game Boy Color at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it does like a tape mode sort of thing. It's really, really cool. I've had probably 3 or 4 of them over the years. I need to get one again, but yeah, they're awesome. The only thing that sucks is obviously like the Final Fantasy and the RPGs are text heavy and they're in Japanese only. So getting like the emulators with English patches is like pretty much the way to go for that.
Right.
But it's definitely an awesome handheld for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Big fan.
Yeah, for sure.
We have Mysticles in the chat. Hey, Game Junkies.
Hey, what's up, Mysticles? How's it going?
Welcome.
So, obviously I know, but for everybody else, let's talk a little bit about the name. Are you specifically like just a big Nintendo fan? Because you're talking about a lot of other stuff, or did that just happen to be a cool name to pick out?
So, it's funny because there's a history before Billtendo, to be honest.
Okay.
And I was unhappy at the time. I was very unhappy. I I was a very popular meme maker, especially on Instagram, like very popular. And it got to the point where I was having all these feuds with celebrities and aggregate pages and stuff like that, whether it be F Jerry or the Fat Jewish or Joey Salads, all of them. And so I was sitting back one day and I'm like, this is too much. I'm tired of all this negativity all the time. The only thing in my life other than my family that I truly enjoy is video games. I collect games. I play games constantly. I'm going to concentrate on that. So I decided immediately to just not even say anything about it and just do it and switch over. And I don't know. I just wanted a name that represented my love for video games, not necessarily Nintendo.
Sure.
And I was kind of joking around and I said Billtendo 64. And my sons, who are 23, they were like, that's absolutely terrible and I hate it. And I asked a couple other people and they were like, just drop the 64. So it just went to Billtendo. I have a buddy that's a graphic designer and he came up with some phenomenal stickers.
Nice.
And that was pretty much it. It's just meant to represent I'm Bill and I love video games, and that's pretty much it.
Did you ever think about doing Billy Station or Billbox?
No.
Or Billega.
Or Billy.
Not that one. Nope.
Yeah, no, that's terrible.
You know what? Let
me
ask you a question, Brandon. In all honesty, so this is how I made the final decision. Say Bill Station, say Billtendo. Which one is more fun to say?
Billtendo.
Exactly.
I don't know. I still like Billbox.
Oh, you look like a Billbox. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, but then it just doesn't, because like Nintendo,
Nintendo,
like
it just
you kind of know where it's going.
Yeah. So I just thought it felt good. It represented that I love video games, and that was pretty much it.
Sure. Yeah, I love the name. I think it's great. Logo's awesome. Just taking the play on the Nintendo logo. I think it works out really well. It looks awesome. It's recognizable. It looks good on the Billtendo cards. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
I do think
we just wanted to, a little bit more specify that. That way people know that you also do like a whole variety so that you're not just like locked into Nintendo.
I do everything video game related. It's not just Nintendo. People that know me know that one of my big things is I'm a pretty heavy importer from Japan. I like to find a lot of items that were Japan release only and bring those to the United States, stuff that we never got a chance to buy, but that is really cool. I look for specifically stuff like that. But on the other hand, I also try to bring games to the United States. And it seems like the most games that are easiest for me to get people into Japanese games, which, by the way, I do that because I love Japanese games. And so by extension, I started getting other people into them. It's going to be Super Famicom games, which is Nintendo. PSP is a great one because it's not region locked. You can play PSP games on your PSP, Nintendo DS, the Sega Genesis, which was the Mega Drive there. They got about 800 games that America never got. Same thing in Europe. Europe got about 800 Sega Mega Drive games that the Genesis in America never got. So it seems like the majority of games I bring in from Japan to get other people to play, like Dreamcast, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. These are not really Nintendo games. There's a couple. I do the DS. I do Super Famicom. I do Nintendo 64. But I think that's probably the extent of Japanese Nintendo games I do.
Sure.
Very
But
nice. Yes, we have a lot of people in our chat too. Some are from whole like different regions, and
yeah,
they love the variety as well. So we're
absolutely.
all not just limited to ones in North America.
Yep.
We like all games, retro, newer, imports. Some of the best imports too, like on the Sega Saturn and so many different
Yeah.
systems. They're great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I find it fascinating that as Americans, we have a little bit of trouble comprehending that Nintendo didn't necessarily win the console war with Sega in Europe.
Hmm.
Oh no, you're totally
In
right
Europe,
on that.
in
Yep.
Europe, the Sega won. In Japan, it was pretty on the line. It's just that America has so many more people and so many more dollars to put towards that because we have more people, but they got tons of games we didn't get. And one of the things I found out importing is Sega is still hugely popular in Japan. Mega Drive games are not cheap in Japan by any stretch.
Huh.
Wow.
They're still popular. People don't want to get rid of them. I find it very interesting.
We have Carl who's also asking, do you bring in any Sega Mark III or Master System games? He's a big fan.
Yes, occasionally. I actually do some EverDrive style cartridges for the Sega Genesis, which has every Sega Genesis / Mega Drive game from around the world on it, and it also has every Master System game from around the world on it.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Like I said, I'm big about emulation. So you're playing in an original console. It's got every game from around the world. You can't get a better selection. I bring in some games for Mark III and for Master System, but the truth is it's a very limited market. So I have to be strategic in those buys to make sure I can get my money back out of them. If I can get a great deal on them, I'm going to grab as many as I can, but it all depends on that deal. It's not a hot ticket item. It's one of those items that you got to find the right buyer for. And I do have a lot of people that reach out to me in advance and they're like, hey, can you help me find this? This is my budget. Absolutely. I'll do the best I can to work in the confines of your budget because, look, Brandon, you know me. I'm cheap, man.
Yep.
I don't spend no money on myself. I keep myself on the tightest budget you can imagine.
Yep,
So-
you're very, very cheap. But I mean, that's a good thing. We got to be with this stuff. That's
I
just
know.
how it is, especially when you're running a business. Like that's just how it is. I mean, even with just the collecting, which is a whole separate thing than running a business, but all of it, you kind of got to be cheap with it, man, or you can't do any of it. With video games at all, it's all expensive.
Because of the fact that I'm cheap, because I keep myself on a budget, it puts me in a position where I can definitely respect other people's budgets.
Sure.
They tell me this is what I'm looking for. This is what I have to spend on it. I'm either going to tell you yes or no. I can make that happen or I can't. I'm going to be honest about it. You know, we all have confines we have to work in.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes sense.
Not to get off topic, but I got a message from my brother asking if you're an Office fan.
What
Fan
is
of
that?
The Office.
I don't
The show.
I don't have an office so much as just the studio.
No, like
Come
the
on.
TV show.
Come on, dude.
The TV show.
No, okay, so before it even made it to
You're being
America,
serious.
dude, I do that all the time. My wife wants to kill me all the time. I tell her all the time, I'm a liar. I'm going to lie to you. I'm never going to be malicious. I'm never going to be mean, but I am going to get you to believe something and immediately laugh and tell you that I'm lying because I find it hilarious.
An honest liar. You don't see those very often.
You don't. You don't. That defeats the purpose a little bit.
I find it hilarious, but I'm going to tell you I lied to you so that you can laugh with me. But yes, I'm a huge Office fan. Matter of fact, if I didn't think it'd be brought up, even though I'm wearing a Dunder Mifflin shirt, I actually have 2 Dundies up in my son's bedroom right now because if you remember on The Office, they talk about eating at Cooper's Seafood. I live an hour and 15 minutes away from Scranton. The closest place to me, a New Orleans boy, that has a damn Waffle House. So about once a month, I drive to Scranton and go eat at Waffle House because it's not a Waffle House, it's a Waffle Home. But my wife and I have been to Cooper. We've been to Cooper's several times, the seafood restaurant they mention in The Office, and they have a huge office gift shop there. I have a Dunder Mifflin parking pass on my car.
That's awesome.
You know, I have Dundee Awards.
Nice.
My wife's got, my daughter has the world's best boss mug. You know, we've picked up all of that stuff from there. But yeah, we're right down the street from Scranton.
That's great. Yeah,
Very
he's like
cool.
a massive fan of The Office, and he loves that show. And Brandy was just talking about how Waffle House is considered fine dining to her family. I've never
I don't
been.
know
They're
what
everywhere.
it is.
I've never
My
been.
dad wants to go there all the time, and my mom hates it.
You know what?
She does not like it, but we go there, and it's a whole family thing, and it's like this whole fine dining experience for us. And he is the happiest person I've ever seen when he's ordering his waffle, and my mom just grabs a waffle too, and she just like shaking her head the whole time.
I'm ordering my BLT with the extra bacon. That's the bacon lovers BLT. I'm getting hash browns. I'm getting them scattered, smothered, covered. And my wife, we're in the Waffle House one day. My wife she's from New York. They don't do Waffle House, right? So in the Waffle House, and they feed 3 tables around us when we ordered first. And I'm like, yo, bring me my BLT. And I'm getting antsy. I'm hungry. I'm getting that hangry thing. I'm angry. I'm watching everybody around me getting food. I know how Waffle House works. And the woman's like, well, your food's taking a little longer to cook. And I'm like, are you the manager? She's like, yeah. I'm like, young liar, go get my food. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I start getting attitude. I'm a little embarrassed by it, but also I know Waffle House procedures.
Yep.
So I'm like, you're not going to tell me. I said, I'm looking at my plate down there. It's on the end of the line because it's got a mayo pack on one side and it's got a bottle of ketchup over there. I know what I'm talking about. That's my plate. Why is it at the end of the line when everybody in here ordered after me? That plate should be at the front of the line. It should have already been filled because they do these little signals. And my wife's like, you can't yell at Waffle House people. And I'm like, yes, you can. They can fight. They okay with it. Like, I'm from New Orleans. They fight you in the parking lot.
It's a whole experience. It's something different than I've ever experienced.
I love Waffle House so much.
We have quite a few people talking about Waffle House, but we'll get caught up real quick. We have Johnny Graphic saying Mega Drive was behind the PC Engine in the 90s, interestingly. In Japan, that was. We have Stephanie saying, that's who you remind me of. The celebrity Ray Liotta. Good voice for your radio show.
Thank you. Take that as a compliment. Love Ray Liotta.
We have Carl saying, woohoo. Thank you, Billtendo. Great to hear. Appreciate the response for the information earlier. Stephanie saying, not Waffle House with the upside down smiley face. And Carl saying, like we have none of these food places around in my country. These sound so delicious. Yes, Waffle House is quite the experience.
We don't eat at Waffle House because it's the best food in the world. We also don't expect a Waffle House to be clean. As a matter of fact, if there's not food all over the floor on the line, and when you pull up, the cook is not standing outside smoking a cigarette, you're probably going to have a bad meal. Like if he's outside smoking, you're going to have a good meal. You're going to go in there to put dirty. It's going to be good. It'll be delicious.
How about where, have you seen the video of that crazy fight at Waffle House where the guy throws something over the counter and jumps over the counter?
Yeah. Dude.
That just seems like the Wild Wild West at Waffle House.
Let me really, really date myself here. I was in my early 20s when songs like Back That Ass Up came out. And now I'm from New Orleans, and that's where that song's from. And we went to the club. So that's the time period for you. All the clubs on the North Shore outside of New Orleans close at 2 a.m. It was an ordinance. And so there is a Waffle House on every freeway exit, right? And there's like 10 freeway exits just around Slidell, which is like 10 minutes north of New Orleans. From 2 to 5 a.m., every one of those Waffle Houses are packed wall to wall. I have seen some of the craziest stuff you can imagine. It's every drunk person in the city in Waffle House trying to get food.
So we used to, speaking where you're talking on like the 2 to 5 a.m., I can remember like back in the day when we go to like hardcore shows and stuff in the city, we always hung out at Denny's. Denny's was our spot. But other people
Yeah.
seem to always have Waffle House. I just never somehow always missed Waffle House. But it's like everywhere. We just always did Denny's. And I love Denny's.
You know, I always thought Denny's was okay, but I like Waffle House, man. I'm a Waffle House guy. I walk in, I put my hands on that table. It feels like they wiped it down with syrup right before I get there. That's perfect for me. I'm ready to go.
True. It's always like that. And the floor sometimes it's like you're skating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The floors are a little extra slippery on the tile, and the table is a little extra sticky, and you're not sure why.
If it
I'm like,
ain't dirty and there's unknown substances, I don't want it.
yeah, dude, look,
You're
this
missing out. You're
those
missing out.
have great food.
That's hilarious. Oh god, a whole Waffle House. We're gonna have to have like a clip about Waffle House or something.
I
Like
was
a whole
just
Waffle
about
House
to
segment.
apologize for derailing to Waffle House.
Yeah, and everyone is talking about it. Stephanie's like the accuracy. Carl saying sounds like dinner and a show at these places.
It
And
is.
then they're asking where are you located, and Carl's like New Zealand. So it's very cool. Great to hear people with these
Yeah.
Waffle House stories and their experiences, and love it.
We
Love
have
Waffle House.
Yeah, I wonder like is Waffle House like a US thing only or is it kind of
Yeah.
like all over? Okay.
As
Yeah, cuz we've
far as
got
I,
people in so many countries in this chat. It's not even funny right now.
I
Yeah.
don't think they even have them in Canada.
Huh.
As a matter of fact, specifically, it's a southern United States thing. I know the two largest densities of Waffle House is going to be Atlanta, Georgia, which has some ridiculous amount in just the city of Atlanta. It might be like 150 Waffle Houses or
Holy
something.
crap.
Yeah, and then I told you they're on every
We have
freeway.
16 in like the general Columbus area, so like central
Yeah.
Ohio. And I've never been, which just makes no sense.
And
But
there's like I think around 55 around Gulfport, Biloxi, Mississippi, which
Huh.
is right
wow.
on the coast. So I think it's specifically a southern thing with a couple outliers in other places. And I think it's all American.
Well, I can tell you what, Brandy really wants to move to Atlanta right now. There's 150 Waffle Houses. She'd be in heaven.
Man, could you imagine? I'm eating waffles all day. No, we have Stephanie saying Waffle House about to sponsor y'all.
You know, this
Getting
is
sponsored.
I just opened up my clothing website, and I've been adding new t-shirt designs every day, like anywhere from 2 to 5 designs a day. I really don't have enough on there, maybe like 35 shirts right now, so I'm not really pumping it big time. It is what it is. But I told my wife earlier on the way back from the airport, the next design I'm gonna put on there later tonight is it's a waffle home. Well, like in the Waffle House logo, but instead of saying house, it says Waffle Home. So
That'd be
I'm
cool.
gonna go ahead
I'm
and put
about to order a Waffle House shirt.
All right, you guys heard it here first. We're doing a Waffle House merch design drop.
We
Oh my God.
we have Johnny saying Waffle House has nothing on two doors. Biscuit
Tutors.
World? Tutors? What is that?
I have no idea.
I've never heard of that either.
I've never heard of that either. Yeah, that's
I don't think so.
my
I
goal.
think Waffle House is the best. You heard it here first, guys. That's gonna be it.
We're going to do a whole Waffle House Game Junction logo thing. Well,
Right?
she's gonna
Or
force me to do it now.
we'll go ahead and jump into non-Waffle House talk,
All
okay?
right.
So you mentioned that you'd like to collect, play different, like a whole variety of different things. What are you specifically collecting at the moment?
Hmm. Um, that's a good question. Mostly, so. All right. So at one point, like a year ago, I looked around and I had this really, really large, extensive collection,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized, none of this stuff ever gets touched.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to change that. If I'm not going to touch it, somebody else will. So I actually very quietly sold off almost my entire collection piece by piece, as far as all the games and consoles. Like my Sega Saturn was one of the first things to go. I'm sorry to say that, but it was on the shelf for 3 years and never once did I think, hey, I'm gonna plug that Saturn in and play it. I never even considered it. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sell that to somebody that's gonna play it. That's basically what I did. And so in the last year and a half or so, I guess my collection has become weird and obscure things.
Best
Um
things.
That's the
item
best kind.
items that if you can find again, I would be shocked. For example, um at one point I had 3 copies, the only 3 copies in the world, and being who I am, I actually gave 2 of them away.
Oh
And
wow.
now each one I made sure was different so that each is a one of one, but they are sealed copies of Bioshock 2, which doesn't sound that impressive because it was a AAA game, sold millions of copies. But what was special about these 3 specific copies is the voice of Little Sister was done by Canadian actress Jodelle Ferland, who played the creepy little girl in the Silent Hill movie. She
Oh yeah.
played,
Yeah.
yes, she was in Case 23 or whatever with Renee Zellweger. She's the
Mhm.
creepy little girl from everyone's childhood, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she did the voice of Little Sister in Bioshock 2. Now,
Right.
here's the rub. I know Jodelle. Not only do I know her, I'm very, very good friends with her sister. So, as a favor to me, she autographed 3 copies of
Wow.
Bioshock 2 that were sealed that I sent to her, and she sent them back to me. Each one a little bit differently. Like one was a PlayStation 3, one was a PlayStation 3 Greatest Hits, one was an Xbox 360. So they're all 3 the same, but they're all 3 different. Now the thing with Jodelle is, as friendly and fantastic as she is, she keeps a very tight control on her brand. And one thing
Mhm.
she doesn't generally do is sign video games.
Mhm.
So even though she did the voice for those, so I have the only 3 sealed copies she has ever signed.
Wow.
That's awesome.
And I actually gave 2 of those away. One of them I put in a friend's private collection. One of them I actually gave away live during a live auction. And the
Mhm.
other one is in my cabinet in the next room over.
Very
And
cool.
I don't really show those off very often, but that's the kind of stuff I collect now. I want things that are very weird, and some of the things I have probably are not worth but $2. But to
Mhm.
me, they're super interesting. I have a GPS unit for PSP, which only came out in Japan. It was really only good for 1 or 2 games at the time.
Yeah.
It's not worth anything now. It's worth like $10. But to me, that's a cool item. So it's a little chrome GPS that attaches to the underside of a PSP. That's sitting in my cabinet. So it's just things that I find interesting, things that I feel have a place in gaming history. That's the kind of stuff I keep.
Yeah.
Very
I love
cool.
that stuff too. That's my favorite stuff to collect. I mean, like I've got So like, there's some things that like are weird stuff that kind of has no like public value, like some weird sealed CDI games I've got that there are none on the market. But then like the weird accessories, like the Game Boy sewing machine, and like I
Right.
like like that, and the sonar fishing thing for the Game Boy Color. Like I have that, and like just weird different stuff that like I don't know, pedometer for there's one for PSP, there's one for Game Boy Advance, like all that kind of weird stuff. I
Oh
love all
yeah.
that, and a lot of it isn't worth anything, and that's okay because it's
Right.
I enjoy it. If you're collecting for
It's
value, it just isn't the way to do it.
it's worth something to me. It's worth something to you. That means something.
Yeah, yeah, and I've said this many times. My favorite thing in my collection is a copy of Tetris on Game Boy because it has direct sentimental value to me and is one of the few things I have from my childhood from my grandma that I still have today. And me and Thomas were just talking on the way home. If we were to grab something and there was a house fire, that's what I'd grab, and he would have grabbed Batman on the stuff that has no actual value, but it has value to us. So, yeah.
Nope, that's the way it should be.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's me. I'm all over that, man. Like if it makes you happy, do it. That's your thing. It doesn't matter the value because it's worth so much to you.
Yeah.
So that's really what I get into. Maybe it comes from a place of I don't want to say privilege, but it also is a privilege, and I recognize my privilege as I'm part of this community, and I have so much access to items and games that the majority of people will never have access to.
Right.
Like if I want to buy a copy of Worms Armageddon for Nintendo 64 or Daikatana, it's going to take me about 30 seconds. I'm going to shoot one message and say, hey, give me your PayPal. I want to buy Daikatana. And that's not the case for everybody. And I understand that it comes from a place of privilege to me to look at my collection one day and say, this is a giant collection of stuff you've accumulated. Like, this is somebody's dream. And I don't care about any of it because I don't think any of it's cool. I just have too much. Maybe that's a overburdening, you get the too much of it. Too much of it. And so myself, I started not caring what was there. And now it's like much smaller. I don't care what things are worth. If I find it cool, that's going in the collection.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Fair
Curate your collection to your needs and what you see holds value for you. That's
Yeah, I mean, I think, Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at one point we all got into the hype of, I'm going to have, like, just for example, a GameCube collection of all the games that are over $100 or something like that. Like, I'm going to have an expensive GameCube collection. And you realize expensive doesn't necessarily mean fun. This is not like I have the best games. One of my favorite GameCube games is Robots, the Pixar or DreamWorks
that's
Yeah.
a
movie.
good one.
It's a cheesy little platformer, and it costs like $5, man. That game is so damn fun.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I have Chibi Robo, and that's a very acquired taste.
Yes.
I do
Very
love that game, but like a game like Go Hyper Grind, that's like a very mediocre game to me. I think that is not even close to like the best like skateboarding game you can even play on the system. Like in that form or fashion. There's a lot of that though. The expensive games are not even remotely the best games 90% of the time.
Sculptor's Cut is an objectively garbage game. Nintendo 64.
The best game ever.
Oh,
If
I
I
knew she was going to make a comment.
play that game, I would burn my own house down.
I don't enjoy it personally. I think it's pretty bad.
500 copies of Powerful Pro Baseball out of Japan because that series was phenomenal.
I love that series too, and they just made a new one too to plug
Yeah.
that, and I played it on stream. I always love that series, and I'm not
I
even like a baseball guy anymore, but I
no,
think it's
and neither
fun.
I haven't played baseball games to be honest, since probably NES, SNES, and then you know, in the last few years, I started playing all the Japanese games, and I started playing the Powerful Pro series on Nintendo 64. And I'm like, these might be the absolute funnest baseball games I've ever played. They, I mean, they're just downright fun.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, I agree with that completely, 100%. There's so many expensive games that are just terrible, and a lot of there's a lot of like cheap stuff that are some of the best. I mean,
Oh yeah,
there's just so many that I enjoy across every system, and it's just yeah, that's why, like, curating your collection, not going after necessarily the um general consensus of holy grails, or just going after the all the expensive games for every system is just not it's not always the move for everybody, so
right.
well, yeah. So let's go ahead and ask you, and I wanted to ask, since we're talking about some of this now, um what types of games are you enjoying playing now, and like what systems are you playing the most these days when you get to play? I know we're all like really busy, but what are you usually like tuned into or checking out here lately?
To be honest, the last probably 3 weeks, absolutely nothing but Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, me too.
Nothing but.
Me too.
I'm not. And look, here's the thing. I tell people all the time, I'm not good at video games.
Me either.
People,
I said too.
people assume I'm good at games. Guess what? I'm here to tell you, I am not good at games. I just like playing them. And it's okay to suck. It's okay to not be the best. I've been playing Tears of the Kingdom. I have not made one tactical penis yet. I have not made a mech suit yet, and I've been playing for 3 weeks. You know, I think those guys are playing a different game than me, to be perfectly honest, because I just upgraded my batteries yesterday. I've been playing for 3 weeks. It turned out I had enough stuff to completely fill my batteries because I'm a piddler. I like to mess around. I like to find stuff. I like to hunt, scavenge.
Me too.
I found a bargainer statue in the depths, and then like, oh, do you want the tunic of the depths? And I'm like, yeah. And it's 150 pos. And then I realized, I have over 4,000 po.
Oh wow.
What am I supposed to do with these things? Like, I guess I could get a lot of stuff with them.
I have tried to build two things. I'm not like far in, so when I say I've been playing it, I got it when it came out, but I've only played it on streams. I've tried to build 3 different things, and none of them have worked out. None of them work. Yeah, I'm not like a Minecraft
right.
creative type. You know what I mean? I can't. It's not my thing.
So,
But I just enjoy the running around, collecting stuff, finding new stuff. Solving the shrines. That's what I enjoy. So
yeah, me too. And my friend Beth asked me the other day, she finished it last week, and she's like, how are you doing? And I'm like, oh, well, I knocked out like 120 or so shrines, and I lit all the light roots. And she's like, oh, well, do you have the master sword yet? And I'm like, no, I didn't bother to go do that yet. And she's like, Billy, how many hearts do you have? And I'm like, I don't know, like 8. And she's like, why do you only have 8 hearts? And I'm like, I don't know, because I have like 60 orbs I haven't traded in yet. And she's like, you keep telling me you're not very good at video games, but it seems kind of a little bit like you're playing the game on hard mode. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I'm just messing around.
yeah.
But then, like, lately I've been trying to build things, and I have a nice little hot air balloon with a steering stick on it.
Oh, nice.
And 2 fans. And I put a flame emitter to blow up there, and the steering stick on the front. It's actually really convenient. It works really well. Super simple. It's no hoverboard, but it's decent.
You can do like whatever in the game. It's crazy. I still only have 4 hearts, so I've like my progress is like not. I'm like trying to open up the map right now. Like I'm just kind of running around and doing that. Both the underground map now and the the Hyrule map and the Sky map and all that. I've been doing that a lot. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
No, all
I'm
that.
loving it.
Man, I spent 2 days straight doing nothing but running around the mines in the depths, mining zonite like an idiot. And I end up with like 2,000 pieces of zonite. What am I supposed to do with all of that? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. There's still stuff I haven't figured out in the game. A lot of like additions from Breath of the Wild I haven't figured out, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Let me ask you, Brandon. So far, it seems like I'm a bit further than you in the game. So far, how do you feel about Tears of the Kingdom being a proper sequel to Breath of the Wild as far as gameplay mechanics and story?
Story, I have not. I don't feel like I've seen enough story wise because it's kind of cut between everything, like with the memories and like finding those. So I found 2 memories so far. Some of the others story I can't really comment on. I've not seen enough. I don't know what that, but Breath of the Wild became my favorite game of all time, and I think this has already surpassed that. And I'm maybe like 25 hours in. Like I
Wow.
just, as soon as I got into Hyrule itself, and then actually got to check out underground and just saw how expansive it really was with all the elements of building, being able to. I mean, it's almost like you can break the game. Like they give you the ability to break the game with Zelda, but it's like intentional from Nintendo that I never thought we would get. Oh, jeez, what's happening? I'm scared.
Um, I'm messing up. I'm listening to you, man.
Oh no, you're good. So I saw a Slim Jim there.
Told
I
you.
like Slim Jims.
It's a Slim Jim shark.
What the heck is that? That's something Brandy would have.
I don't have
Dude,
that.
they had this at my local gas station, and when I bought this house like 3 years ago, I asked them for it, and they told me no. And I asked them every time I went in there for a year, and they told me no. And then I went in there about 2 months ago, and they were like, "I'm not gonna do the voice because it might come off very insensitive." But they were like, "Bill, you want the shark? You take the shark." And I was like, "Okay,
I take the
thank you,
shark.
thank you, Bob. I'll take the shark. I love the shark. Keep Slim Jims in it, but I'm out."
That's awesome. I love it. But yeah,
Once again, gas stations.
I'm having a blast. You haven't gotten to try Tears of the Kingdom, have you yet, Brandy?
No,
I didn't
not
think
yet.
so. I think she'll have a blast with
All
it
right.
too.
Brandy, I'm gonna need a good excuse on why not.
Creating content takes a lot of time.
Yes, it does. That's accurate, and I understand. That's an acceptable answer.
I love it though.
I make a lot of.
Eventually, I'll get caught up.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
I'm
look,
with you.
to be
You know,
fair, I would normally like because this is like my game of the year. Like this is like my game of the past 6 years. I've been looking forward to. Like I've been so excited about this game. This is the #1 game I've been looking forward to. So really, I would like to be already like 300 hours into it. But I have only played it on stream, and I don't stream like super long periods of time. So I'm right there with her. Like if I wasn't streaming it, who knows?
So I completely understand that, but I told my wife. Now I did stream on my YouTube live Tears of the Kingdom as soon as it launched. So at like midnight that night, I was streaming it, and I streamed for like 2 hours or so. Since then, I told my wife my content creation is 100% taking a back seat until I feel like I'm done with this game. Because even though I play games, because I'm a very busy person, I play them for 5 minutes and I set them down. Games like Breath of the Wild are great for that.
Yeah.
But the truth of it is you don't get to get absorbed into a game. You don't get to get in there and truly enjoy it. And I said, I've been waiting for this game for like 7 years. I'm going to play this game. You know what? There's plenty of content I can create after. There's plenty of stuff I can do after. But just this once for this game, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to play this game. I'm going to enjoy it. And
Mhm.
so if you look at like my YouTube, I think the last thing I posted was that live with the Tears of the Kingdom.
Nice.
TikTok, I've dropped a couple videos. Instagram, one or two videos, but I really did let my content take a back seat. And so I understand if you're making a lot of content, it's the exact opposite. You haven't had a chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
No, I get it. I kind of sort of said something similar, but just it doesn't get to happen. But it's all good. I enjoy creating content too. And I'll get to the point that I want to get in the game. I'll beat it eventually, and it'll be
Mhm.
my big game that I'll get to play probably the rest of the year and be like one of my big games for the year and stuff. And I'm enjoying kind of taking my time with it anyway. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
You know what? Let me throw this out there. I don't know if you ever played this game. I don't know how popular it is. I don't always have my finger on the pulse. I did some live streams. I like to go live stream in the middle of the night because I stay up till like 3 a.m. Brandon, you know this. I'm up till like 3 a.m. and and so I like to live stream in the middle of the night. One of the games I live streamed and I found out it was suggested by some viewers. Tremendously fun. If you get a chance, give it a try. Lost Vikings. And I don't
Okay.
know Super
I've heard of it.
Nintendo.
Yeah, I've heard of it
I
as
don't
well.
popular this game is. To be honest, it might be a very popular game, and I might sound like an idiot right now. All I'm saying is I streamed this game, and I truly found it one of the funnest Super Nintendo games I've played in probably the last 5 years or so.
That's some big hype. It,
Yeah.
yeah, I've heard of the game. I've never played the game. I don't even know the type of game that it is, to be honest with you. What
So,
style of game is it?
okay, so it disguises itself, man, because you play as three Vikings and you switch between the three, and each one does things a little differently. One might be able to punch, one might be able to jump, etc.,
That's
etc.
that game. Yeah.
So here's
It
the
all came
thing:
back.
you you're playing a platformer
Yes.
because you have to do all these things and control these guys. But when you pay attention, you're not playing a platformer at all. You're playing a strategy game. You have to know what character to
Mm-hmm.
use at what specific time to set the next character up so you can go do this with him so that the third guy can go do this and that's going to complete your board. So it looks like a platformer, it has platformer elements, but at the end of the day, it's a fun little strategy game.
So is it like a puzzle platformer sort of thing?
Well, it's very platformery. You know, it's the 2D Donkey Kong Country type layout almost.
Oh, okay.
You might have this cliff here, and you jump off here and go down over here, and then climb down this ladder. That type of setup, but really, you have to have the guys in the right position to do the right thing, so you can pass on to the next board.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'll have to check
Yeah.
that out sometime.
Carl saying, I remember playing Lost Vikings way back in the 90s. It's so much fun. And Manny's Arcade is saying, fantastic game. Very
Damn, I
cool.
have to check it out then.
And speaking of some engagement, we have some community questions that we got for this week. So these are some questions that some of our community members will ask, whether it's specific to, our guest or if it's just specific out there to anyone who is a part of video games. We actually have Southeast Game Exchange. So they are actually saying, is retro a specific era in time, or does it change each year?
I think it's always changing. I've had this conversation. Retro soon is going to be accidentally calling you Brandy. I apologize. I just heard it ringing.
I'm used to it. I just put it
Yeah,
on
it's
silent.
just my fat stomach is always clicking stuff, and I have my phone right there on my lap, and I'm just being honest. It's always doing that. But anyway, think retro is always changing. I mean, what's you know, PS3 is going to be considered retro pretty soon. I think
We're all
the
getting
next
old.
yeah, we're getting old basically. Retro is defined
Brandon,
by the console generation. Yeah.
I have a theory on that, and it's right in line with where you're at. And you tell me, as a community, we should implement these rules. All
Okay.
right, because it'll stop the argument of retro forever. What is retro? What is not? Two
Mhm.
consoles from current backwards will be retro.
Yes, that's
That
where I'm
and
at.
everything before it.
Yeah.
PlayStation 5, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, Wii U are all now retro consoles. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch are not. It's that simple. Two consoles backwards from the current gen should be considered retro. If you want
Yeah.
to go a
Yeah.
little bit further,
Yeah.
you go
Ancient.
forward and say that's classic, retro classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the way I view it is like so I've always viewed it this way, and there's a couple points to this for me is that if I can't buy it in the store anymore,
Yes.
like PS4 games are readily available in the stores still and
Mhm.
will be for at least a few more years. Like we
Oh,
just got
wow.
the announcement that like Xbox One games aren't being produced anymore. But it's not retro. I mean, it's something we've had in the past 10 years. If I can't buy it in the store anymore, that's one point to this. And then two, if I now this is like my personal collector mentality, also like preservation side of things for me. If I wouldn't personally unseal the game, like I would not open up a sealed PS3 game myself because I can just usually readily buy a open copy. Then
Yes.
I
Mhm.
that's another point for me personally. Like a PS4
Mhm.
game, I would just break open and it's nothing. I mean, they're right in the store, but I can't readily buy a new PS3 game like that. So those are a couple points for me personally, and I've kind of
Yes.
always viewed it that way. So like same, Wii, I wouldn't open up a Wii game. You can't buy a Wii game in the store. You can't buy Wii U, and that's kind of like a weird thing too. But that's definitely not retro either. That was just the last console for Nintendo, so that's one thing. Um, we're almost at the point with 3DS even because 3DS is, God, is it 12 years old? Maybe it came out.
It's like it's
It's
getting
pretty
up there.
old.
Yeah.
Does it?
Mhm.
I don't think
Somewhere
it
I
should
don't know if
matter
it's
by
quite
year.
12
It should
years
matter
old, but
by generation. And the 3DS, I mean, even though it might have been released 12 years ago, like what was it, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, they were still making 3DS XL, the
mm-hmm.
new 3DS XL.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's nowhere near retro. It doesn't
right,
matter when it started,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I think
I mean,
two
we could,
console releases, like you were saying, for me, that's where it's at. Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
I personally,
two consoles. That would work for me.
yeah,
But what is retro? What is considered retro? That answer is gonna vary for every single person
yep,
Mhm.
because hey, people that very very firmly believe that nothing past Nintendo 64 is retro.
yeah. There's people that
Mhm.
They
argue
don't.
that PS2 isn't retro, and I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't know about that, but yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know about that. It's been a while,
Yep.
but yeah,
You play a
it's
Bronco retro.
it's yeah, and you're right too. Like they're like, if it's anything after this specific console, it is not retro. Well, what happens with that group of people when they pass away? Do we have to just continue carrying their torch and saying that's not retro? And it's 40 years later, 40 years after the Switch, and we're still not allowed to call that retro.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't
Wait, are
know.
you making reference to me because I'm so old and 40 years after the Switch means I'll probably be dead?
Well, I mean, that's awful
No.
morbid. I didn't.
We just took a turn for the worst here on the
Yeah, I don't know what
podcast.
happened. I don't know. But anyway, we got another community question, right?
No, Carl said that He really likes those definitions for retro and classic. He said it makes a lot of sense, so that's good. At least we end on a good note. And then we do have one more community question. We have Xtracken Z3. What's a better way to work smarter if making Twitter videos? Now we can broaden this to all social media videos. Just a couple things to make it a little bit easier, I guess, for people who make content.
Yeah, I mean,
my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Brand.
no, you're good. I'm kind of thinking of what I want to hear what you have to say.
So if you want to work smarter and not harder, you want to make videos. You're going to make two kinds of videos. Now, let me be specific when I'm talking about making videos. I'm talking off the top of my head as examples. I'm using YouTube Shorts. I'm using Instagram Reels. I'm using TikToks. These are videos that are 3 minutes or less. So, excuse me. You're going to make two different types of videos. One of your videos is going to be a daily timeless video. It doesn't matter when you post this video because it doesn't have anything time relative in it. Now, with your daily relative videos, you can, in order to work smarter, you can make 20 of those back to back in the span of hours. And that's content for almost an entire month. And then the second type of video is going to be your time sensitive. So if a big event happens, an announcement is made, then you're going to make a 30-second to 3-minute video for that. That is going to be your, but if you want to work smart and not hard, you're going to make you a list. You're going to take your time, you make you a list on the videos you want to make, and you're going to make them all back. You're going to film them all at one time, and then you're going to post the appropriate time. Why would you take 10 minutes out of every day to make a video when you could take 2 hours once a month and do it?
Yeah, definitely makes sense to be prepared, plan ahead, figure out what you're passionate about, figure out what you enjoy doing, what works, and then just, keep at it. And you want to stay ahead.
Yeah.
Yep.
I totally agree with that. Trying to, if you get, a chunk of time, like he's saying, if you can knock out a bunch of videos back to back to back and bank those and be able to sit on those and have stuff for however long you need to do, I mean, that is the way to do it for sure. I don't think it's harder for some people, especially if you're new and I'm going to take that them asking that question might be that they're trying to figure that out, and might be maybe they're not super comfortable with the camera and things yet. Just you gotta practice, and it's something I think comes with time too, because we're always improving and learning new things and getting better when it comes to video and any of the back end stuff and all of it, honestly. But mentioning the time sensitive stuff, that's awesome, and that's a great thing to mention, because covering news or anything that's that is super time sensitive, that just got announced or is currently going on, or say you're somebody that covers deals in gaming or something, you've got to hit that stuff right away. There's a bunch of different things in gaming that's always being covered, so I definitely think that is a great way to put all of that, for sure. So I agree with that.
I would say you also said that not everyone has will be able to do that right offhand, and I want to say I definitely recognize that, and I also see as the biggest stumbling block for a lot of people, not everyone, but for a lot of people, because it was even true of me when I first started making videos.
Sure.
Content. Your content, you're gonna dry up a lot faster than you think you're going to. So if you're trying to write a list of 20 videos that you want to make, you're gonna find yourself drying up on that list a lot quicker than you think you will. Because you have two types of ideas. You have a workable idea and you have an idea of an idea. And the idea of an idea is not an idea at all until it becomes a workable idea. And then it goes on the list. Getting 20 workable ideas takes practice. It's your creativity is just like anything else you do. It's like banging in nails. It's like weightlifting. You have to exercise that. You have
Yep.
to practice it to get good at it. You have to be creative to continue to be creative. So even if you're having a hard time getting that first 20 things down of videos that you want to make, just keep pushing, because the more creative you are now, that's going to teach you to continue to be creative. It's just a muscle you're exercising.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, I agree with that. Yep, you exercise that and continue to do it over and over and over and over and over. You're going to get better, and like consistency is key with all of that. You just continue doing that.
Oh, yeah.
You're slowly going to improve, and you're going to see yourself improve, and it's going to make you feel good. And I definitely agree with all of that. But do you want to go ahead and plug any of your socials and where everybody can find you before we make our final announcement and stuff for the night?
Yeah. Yeah, let me do that. If you're looking for video games, you're looking for emulators, accessories, consoles, check out Billtendo.com. Getting there. It's gonna be
It froze there for a quick second. Go ahead and let us know there on that. Thank you.
If you want to check out the t-shirts, there's a bunch of Billtendo shirts, but there's also a bunch of original art gaming shirts and more games, more stuff going on there every day. That is f20da0.myshopify.com. And if you're not a member of N64 Players and Collectors on Facebook, you should be.
Very nice.
Awesome. Yeah, we can drop links below for you as well for all of that. And then do you want to go ahead and share the announcement stuff there, Brandy, for the evening?
So everyone is probably wondering, where are the news? So we actually have some great news here. We have
I love what you did there.
yeah, just thought of it right now. So we actually have some announcements. We are expanding the podcast, and we are going to have more times and more days of the podcast. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, because we will have some where it is, news heavy. We'll have tons more content, different videos on different news things, and we can't wait for all of that. So we are definitely excited. We have some upcoming things, especially recapping our Too Many Games experience, and go ahead and end it on off that Waffle House is number one.
Well, you guys heard it here first. Thank you all so much for watching tonight. We'll be back again real soon with another podcast. We've got normal podcast Sunday, and we've got another internal podcast like Game Ramer just let us know, with just myself and her discussing news and other topics and things. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you guys all later.